He's going to try to evade this in every way that he can. I think he probably will try to plead the Fifth. I can't speak for him. If he does go, his attorney said he wouldn't go. And understand something. Again, if this was you, if it was me, if it was anybody else, you would go because you know damn well if you didn't go, you would be held in contempt of Congress. If you've got nothing to hide, if you've got nothing to worry about, if you've done nothing that's wrong, you're going to be you're going to be pleased as hell to go because you're just going to tell the truth and you have no worries.
House Republicans threatening to hold Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress if he fails to appear for his closed-door deposition this morning. Hunter's scheduled testimony will come as the House prepares for a formal vote to launch an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. Constitutional law attorney and former federal prosecutor Katie Cherkasky joins me now. Katie, great to have you here. I'll say the same thing to you that I said with the great congressman there from New Jersey. This isn't a paperless post invite. You don't get a choice of how or whether to accept. So are Hunter's attorneys just playing a PR game right here, saying, you know, he's not going, we shouldn't have to go, or is he really not going to go?
Well, Hunter is in a difficult position, obviously, because he's facing his own criminal charges and pending trials. So in terms of his exposure here, that is very significant. Nonetheless, he does need to appear and plead the Fifth if he doesn't want to answer questions. I think that would be the obvious and advisable thing to do. So any other suggestions about him playing by a different set of rules and trying to insist upon publicly testifying when that's not an option seems to be more of a PR game than an actual cooperative nature here.
I think that is the most likely scenario as well. But, Katie, if Hunter does not show and is held in contempt, what consequences flow from that?
Well, that's the big question, because Hunter is facing pending criminal charges. That is very significant for him, because if the Congress decides to refer the charge of contempt of Congress to the DOJ, then the DOJ can consider whether to actually pursue additional charges against Hunter for that. And in fact, the idea that they're looking to open a formal impeachment inquiry is meant to strengthen the subpoenas that they're seeking to enforce. So the idea that he may be charged is more than just a hypothetical. So certainly he's taking a risk here. He does have pending criminal matters that are not resolved and are not necessarily even in plea negotiations at this point. So I think he has a big calculation to weigh in his decision here.
You raised this public versus private testimony earlier in your answer, and here's what Oversight Ranking Member Jamie Raskin thinks of Hunter's deposition.
I have no indication. I don't know what's going to happen there. It's an absurd situation when Hunter Biden says he is happy to come and answer any and all questions for as long as they want to ask questions, but he wants to do it in front of the whole world with all the TV cameras running, and Chairman Comer says, no, it's got to be in secret in the back rooms.
So to be clear, James Comer and the Republicans want a deposition where it is uninterrupted questioning throughout the entire time. What Democrats want is the back and forth that you often see in congressional hearings. How vital is it for the House Republicans to hold the line on this, to get those uninterrupted questions where they can get answers or at least get the Fifth, as opposed to a public hearing, which, Katie, you and I both know is just theater in competing 5-minute acts?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it is just theater and another part of this kind of PR ploy. He's willing to testify publicly, even though he's not willing to testify privately. If you're testifying truthfully, it shouldn't matter what setting you're in. Of course, he has the option to plead the Fifth because he runs a real risk here of anything being used against him in his criminal matters. But in terms of him insisting upon publicly testifying when that's not an option, and the Republicans have an obligation and really a big incentive to follow specific processes here in order to thoroughly investigate this potential impeachment, I think that it's ridiculous to suggest that he is entitled to some other sort of circumstances that are not on the table.
We're all about to get a real big education in civil procedure. And for those of you that aren't lawyers out there, let me tell you, it's basically 75% of what we do as lawyers. The other stuff is the real law. Katie Cherkasky, we appreciate your time. Thank you.